Hi everybody, we're here for another segment of Meet the Candidate, and we're here with Rafael Dagnesses, and we're going to discuss a topic that most people are talking about right now, and that's national security. You know, and basically how, if you were elected, that you see maybe making some changes to what we're doing right now.
Well, Bob, you may know a little bit about my background. I was a gunnery sergeant in the United States Marine Corps. I have also been a law enforcement officer for many years. My opinion is based on my life's experiences. But really, the role of government is truly our national security and to be able to protect us. Without national security, without us feeling safe in this country, almost nothing else matters, because if we're not safe, people are not going to be able to invest. Our businesses are not going to be able to expand. People are going to be fearful of going to, let's say, the mall, to go to the movies, to restaurants with their families. We know of countries where people live in fear of their situation because of the surroundings. National security is paramount and absolutely critical. But I do something different as far as my thought process regarding national security. I include veterans issues in with national security. I look at them as the same subject matter, because the treatment of our veterans, and there is no doubt that there are many veterans that wind up getting the proper treatment from the Veterans Administration. But there are many more that are not treated correctly, and there are many that have died waiting for services. The bureaucratic system within the VA is shameful, and the politicians that claim to be advocates for veterans by saying one thing in public and even on the Hill, and then behind the scenes actually support the bureaucrats and the Veterans Administration, not supporting those veterans themselves. It is a critical component of our national security, because the young kid that's a teenager today, and I'm going to bring my own kids into this, those parents that are watching and listening to the way we're treating our veterans are not going to encourage or want their children to serve. And these kids are smart. They're smart. And I, for myself, I've prepped my children, not only academically, but I've been prepping them not to push them into it, but to encourage them to go into service, specifically into one of the military academies, if possible, if not, NRLTC or ROTC. And they're both interested. They're both interested. But I've also heard my wife said, I don't want my kids going into the military under this environment. And I know this environment's going to change. It has to change, because the survival of this country depends on it. And I believe the American people are going to wake up and realize what is actually going through. I'm a member of the Marine Corps League. It's a veterans organization here in Ventura County. It's the Ronald Reagan Detachment. And of course I have many friends in the VFW. And I have friends still on active duty. And if you go on my website, you'll see a very long, impressive list of members of the military that just retired or have retired, that have known me, not for 1 or 2 years, not for political reasons, because of the relationships and the things that I've done and the years that I've known them, that goes back 30, even 40 years of relationships with these people. These are national security experts of all ranks, from colonels all the way down to the lance corporal that fought in Vietnam. And special forces individuals, Marines, Navy, doctors, they're all there and they're supporting me. I am deeply concerned about where we're at right now. You've heard this little saying before. It's not original, but it is absolutely true. Our friends don't trust us, and our enemies don't fear us. We need to go back to the Reagan doctrine of peace through strength. We cannot go back and say we're going to ignore the world. We're going to lead from the rear, as President Obama has stated from day one. There's no such thing, and I'm telling the people out there, leadership leads from the front. There's no such thing as leadership from the rear. You lead by example. That's what I was taught. And when you see the world's thugs, even today, the guy in North Korea flexing his muscles, last week the Chinese government disrespecting our president, Russian MiGs almost scraping within feet our naval ships, Russian subs going up and down our coast, the Iranians harassing our Navy and taking our members of our military hostage for a period of time, basically. Yet, I'm running against an opponent that actually supports the Iranian government. While publicly, she has publicly stated she understands they're the biggest supporters of terrorism, yet she supported giving them their money, which the State Department has already admitted that they can't track where that money is going to be used, and that yes, it could possibly be used for terrorism and building their special forces units. National security is absolutely critical, and once again, one of my emphasis is to make sure that we emphasize our veterans issues with national security, and it's not a blur. It's not a blur at all. I've talked to young Marines at Camp Pendleton, for example, that tell me that they're basically keeping their equipment together with bubble gum. This is a figure of expression on their part. They don't have replacement parts. They don't have the fuel. Last week there were hearings. We have our pilots falling out of the sky because there aren't replacement parts to keep up the F-18s and our other planes. Our Navy is at pre-World War II levels. Pre-World War II levels. Our Marine Corps is decimated, and I forgot how many brigades the Army has lost. The world is getting much more dangerous. You and I are old enough to know what has happened in the past. Right now, we have not one individual or one entity or one area to worry about. We have multiple. From the Chinese building islands in the China Sea, to the Russians pushing into Europe, to ISIS, which the president called the JV team, and we don't have to worry about them expanding, to the FBI admitting that there's investigations in all 50 states, of potential ISIS members here in the U.S. And I can't get into the details, but I do have close and family friends that are still in that world, that are operating in other parts of the world, specifically in Latin America, that give me a little bit of information about the concerns of these characters, these bad guys, coming through our southern border into the U.S.
So, in other words, you're looking at, just like when President Reagan came in, the Air Force, didn't even have spare parts. What you're saying is that money will have to be spent on our military.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, we'll hopefully next year have a review if you're elected. We want to thank you again for coming in this morning.
Thank you.